whatsoever, zero.
Single family lot?
Yes.
Maybe most.
Yeah. Okay. So, I just have found that point to get, let me jump to the question. The question is, I haven't heard any conversation about infrastructure, about conserving infrastructure. Because obviously there's still thousands of units, and who pays for the sewer upgrades, electricity, gas, whatever. How does that work?
Let me take that first, and then Nils is a council guy, he knows all the details, and honestly, I'll defer to him. But in Encinitas, all those buildings that I showed you, there's no requirements for the developer to improve any of the sewers, the water, the traffic, anything else. They don't even do a traffic study.
So the word would be on the municipality.
That's right, which means all of you. So I don't know what Nils' version is.
This is an unfunded mandate.
It's an unfunded mandate.
All of these are unfunded mandates, but guess what? They have loopholes on unfunded mandates. They, well, it gets long complicated. They can get away with it.
They write the law.
My
Yes.
experience, so I started getting into this, we had a very, is it easier if I use the mic? Can you hear me? We had a very compliant, almost an advocate council that went along with the state mandates, and for 2 terms up until this last election in November. And the council that we put in place ran simply on this issue, and they won by 15% all the way across the board. I think it's important to make sure that your council members understand how sensitive of an issue this is for you, and then you put pressure on them, and then you get a resistant council. They can only resist, they have to comply with the law, but they can comply with the law and still resist. They don't have to like complying with the law, and they can join a fight with a lot of other cities. We have SANDAG down there, San Diego Association of Governments, 18 cities. You have SCAG up here, Southern California Association of Cities. One by one, those cities are becoming more and more resistant to all of this, and you've got to work your way up the food chain to get those guys on board, get your councils on board, and then get your legislators on board.
So real quick, going to the infrastructure question, just so you guys know, next study right here. It used to be that your city could just charge, oh, you know what, this project comes in and we're gonna charge you $1 million in fees. Now they actually have to say, oh, you're gonna charge $1 million? Okay, great. You actually have to have what's called a nexus study. Oh, your sewer is gonna be upgraded, it's gonna cost $1 million. Your parks, $1 million. Roads, parks, sidewalks, whatever, $10 million total. Okay, great. Now this project comes along, well, you're gonna take up 10% of that 10 million, so you owe $1 million in fees. You have to have this here put it. I don't know if Hermosa has that in place. I don't know if you do or not. You need to look at that map. 2 is the other fees, like Quimby fees. When I got on the council in Long Beach, our Quimby fee is a fee for parks, regional parks. Any net new housing unit has to pay for that. It was set at $7,500. When I got on the council, we moved it to $25,000. We should have moved it to $80,000. It's been there ever since 2017-18. Why is that important? Who's paying for the park right here? Where are you getting more parking? Redondo has less park space than East LA. Next question.
I have a question. So in retrospect, that these buildings are now on the way to being completed, what did you learn that you could have done and you didn't?
It's funny, I was gonna name my presentation "Don't Be Me," because, you know, I've been having fun raising kids, going to work every day and not paying much attention. And there's a lot of people in the community that saw this train coming down the tracks.
Well, so no, more specifically, what could your community have done that we should be doing outside of that, you know, obviously, keeping our eye on it?
You should support, well,
Getting support council members and vigilance. I mean, these 2 right here, there's a lot of other things too. There's support O&V.
And it's clear that the state is like paving the way for easy.
They're not paving, it's
Paving
already
the way for
built.
development.
It's already, the
Paving
developer.
the way for- But that the development in a coastal zone is more difficult than a non-coastal. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, so I don't know if everybody here is aware where the coastal zone exists in Hermosa.
So I was
I believe
I was gonna put the map on here, I don't know it well enough, I know where it is.
So it doesn't protect everything,
No,
but it does protect that which
Base-
will lead into the beach.
it comes in from, Hermosa Ave? No, where are you,
Or here,
no, it's, one street up.
Northern
San
side.
Diego, and then it jogs.
Like northern side
further
down.
east, down to south.
Yeah, it kind of moves around, like down Palm and kind of around, this is within it,
are we in the?
Well, when you say this is within it, what is
this project.
Okay, but,
We right now are not in the coastal zone.
Right.
The rule of thumb is 300 yards off mean line, but it does.
So that, there's differentiation there, and I don't wanna get too far into that one, because in Redondo Beach, the coastal zone is anything west of PCH,
You're not ever going to.
right? Right, but my point is this, it moves around, in Venice, all the way to Lincoln, which is a mile in. So,
We're not long enough to go across.
yeah, there you go, okay, yeah, I wish you have brought that.
this is, so my humble opinion is if you start talking about who's protected, who's not protected, you're not protecting your city.
No, but by pointing to the coastal, act, at one thing, because it'll only protect a limited amount of the properties that are being affected by this only to,
Well, remember-
attention, to vigilance.
The first apartment that I showed you, the lumber, framing, that was like just on the other side. I mean, that street was a dividing line for the coastal zone. And I found that in our conversations, the coastal commission hasn't provided a heck of a lot of protection.
It's changed,
What
And it's
agency
getting-
governs height?
Pardon?
What agency governs height?
it's a
This
lot.
is the whole issue here, right? We're
Yeah.
talking state. You know, density is one thing, the state's got to mandate for density. We all know that people are gonna be able to put ADUs in their backyard, but height is the thing that destroys the city, right? So who governs height? Does coastal commission govern height, or does the city of Hermosa govern height? Because when I built my house, I had to survey every corner, and make sure that I was within 30 feet, and I couldn't put a fucking chimney, over 30 feet because of that.
So, here's a really simple answer. If you're within the coastal zone, the coastal commission has overriding consideration.
Today.
Always been, today, since 1972. If you're just outside the coastal zone or the rest of the city, including coastal zone, it would be the city of Hermosa Beach.
In this particular,
Okay.
this particular resident.
No, hold on. Since local zoning has been overridden by the state legislators,
So,
now they get variances.
How did we get here? That's what I want to know. I came in late, but I want to know, how did we get here?
State
What
has
did
a-
the city council do wrong that put us in this position? The height limit is 35 feet.
30 feet.
30.
There used to be 35, 30. Down in the back of the
The
west.
city
So
council,
where did this come from? How did we get here?
it's under the cover of COVID and everything else, a whole bunch of laws have been made since 2020 that none of us knew about. And until they're digging a hole next to your house, nobody pays attention. Now they're digging a lot of holes in a lot of places, and sticks are going in the air, and all of a sudden, everybody's paying attention. The city councils have no control. Everybody, I've been through this, and it's a real education process, is that the city, everybody gets mad at the city council first, and then we go through an education process, and they find out that it's all coming down from the state, and they've effectively emasculated the city for any zoning questions.
So wasn't there some kind of things that went on with the planning commission? They should have filed something with
No,
the
the
state.
city
and
did
they-
not have an approved housing project, which let this developer come in under builder's remedy and ignore local zoning.
Those 500 some odd properties that are supposed to be built in Hermosa Beach are mandated by the state. And the city has to figure out where they're gonna put them, and that plan goes back to the state and gets the stamp of approval. If you don't send it in, then builders can do whatever.
But coastal hasn't changed the rules on the 30 foot.
Well, who didn't send it in?
They can override the coastal commission.
Who didn't send it in?
Your city council, listen, the public process takes a long time. They send it in, and by the time the state approves it, state can take 6 months, state can take a year, state can take a month. It doesn't matter if it's not in, or if the state has all the paperwork and they're not acting on it, and guess what? The state is working in cahoots with the developers. Don't blame your city council, don't blame staff. State is working. See this right here? This is 2024. I can find you the exact state law in this graph right here. Somewhere I can find it. I know exactly where it's at. I know exactly what it is. I can point to exactly which one up here that you're dealing with this year. That was passed 2024 to effect for you guys, or prior, and it was amended. Yeah. One, two, three.
Okay, quickly, has anyone, had success with any land use attorneys in the city? And has someone figured out something, or
Yeah.
are we all supposed to independently figure it out?
I would do what you're doing here in this group. I would contact an attorney named Frank Angel. He lives up on Malibu area. He's a great EIR attorney, great CEQA attorney, great Coastal Act attorney, great affordable housing attorney. We use him in Redondo multiple times. We're on the Legato project. Other times he has fought the city, he's fought the state, and he's won multiple times.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
My understanding is that this is happening because there was a crack in the zone, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, the crack is at developer's remedy.
Okay, and so what is being said is if this happens, it can happen again, but I understand that crack has been closed, is that correct?
Crack has been fixed,
So
yes.
how can it happen again?
So this is a really important question. Going back to my thing here with staying vigilant moving forward, this document called the housing element. 8 years, great, you're on it. Every 8 years it's got to be renewed. Okay? 2021 to 2028, 2029, right in there. That's the life of this document. It was maybe only approved last year. Guess what? You're already 3 years
It
in.
doesn't go away, it only gets worse.
It only gets worse, exactly. Meaning,
The next time it could be something you can stay expected.
yeah. And the density only goes up. It's never enough. And before, in years past, it used to not matter that much, but now it matters. Question?
Yeah, so we don't have an effective local coastal plan yet, correct?
No, you don't have LCP, local coastal plan, certified by the coastal commission. You need that.
So how do we get that going?
You gotta go to the city council and get them to get on a strategic plan to get a certified local coastal plan. That's a plan in place that says you can't go higher than this height, you need this parking restrictions, you need this, it's a whole thing. It takes time, it takes energy from the staff, it costs money because you gotta spend time on that. But it offers you huge protections moving forward. Huge. That one, and then, yeah.
Hi, so, thank you for this is great. I'm actually concerned that we're at risk for a builder's remedy project before 2029, because our housing element has a lot of interim obligations,
Yes.
which if we fail to meet.
Yes.
And I met with our community development director yesterday, she's
Yep.
new, she's fully aware, she's on it,
Yep.
but we're at risk. Second, what do you think of John Wellner, who I think is representing Redondo in a thing, because that's who some of us have been encouraging the city to hire with respect to this matter?
He's with Mintz, right? Harvey Mintz. He's taking on private clients?
No, the city.
But Wellner, John Wellner's taking on.
We're encouraging our city council to retain, or the city to retain Wellner to advise the city as to this specific matter, which is, by the way,
Yep.
against the same developer
Yep.
lawyer as.
So there's two questions there. One is current housing element, current timeline, what you're at risk for, and two is who to hire for the city wise. Great answers from both of you on that. Answer number one, your housing element, 8-year document. If within 4 years you don't build 50% of what you were told to build, the state can come over and take over your housing element.
Which is 4 years is now.
Now.
End of this year. Okay?
We have 0, remember, very low.
It really not one.
You're set up to fail. There's no way you're going to succeed. There's no way any city's going to succeed. And oh, by the way, all these other projects, SB 9, whatever else, housing developers remedy, it doesn't count towards a RENA obligation. It just doesn't. You are set up to fail. Every city in the state of California is set up to fail on purpose. I can't Say that now. Question number 2 regarding attorneys. I know attorneys very well. I've known John Wellner for years. I've known him, I'm on the phone with him in May of 2017 when I first got elected before I got sworn in. I got to swear in front of the entire city. Great attorney, he's changed, he's up in Northern California, he's with the Harvey Mintz, I believe. He knows he's helped us out tremendously with the coastal zone, the area's power plant. He's dealing with that. He has a great long resume. He's expensive. He knows stuff really well. I would also point you to, if your city is open to hire other attorneys other than what you currently have, look at a law firm, Alashire and Weinberg. They're based in Irvine. They do primarily cities here in LA County. They are statewide. They shoot down SB 35. They love running projects left, right, and center. Ojai, success. Cupertino, success. They're the first ones to attack it. They have attorneys who are absolutely vicious. They are bulldogs. They don't let go. They know what they're doing. They only work for cities. Right? They do not take on private clients or anything else. They are avid supporters of local control. So definitely I would highly suggest you look at them as well. I know them very well, yes.
What's the advantage of becoming a charter city? I mean, would that help
Yes.
Hermosa at all in
Yes.
this process?
Well, there's 2 types of cities in the state of California. There's a general law city, which is basically you just have general laws in the state of California. You are a direct arm of the state. It is a direct arm. It is like this, strong like this, across. They own you. And they can just pass a law that says you do this, you don't have a choice. You just do it. Right? On this other side, you have the charter city stuff. You have it's essentially a constitution for the city of Hermosa Beach. Right? You have your own constitution. You can decide whatever you want in that constitution. When you have your elections, when you do this. We have, when we have a major land use change for zoning, it goes to a vote of the people in Redondo Beach. That's one of the reasons why we're getting away with what we're getting away with, defending ourselves, I should say, not getting away with, defending ourselves, is because we have this city charter that has these provisions in here regarding land use. Now, that said, the state is quickly eroding away a lot of these things, but it is one more layer of protection for your city. The residents have to come together and vote on it and say yes to it. Your
How do
city
you
is,
get the vote?
what?
How do you get the vote?
You just go to the regular November election. City says we want to turn ourselves into a charter city. This is what the charter is going to look like. You guys fight over what you want in there, what you want to have in there. Redondo Beach, so help us God, we have an elected city attorney, an elected city treasurer, an elected city clerk. I don't know why you guys got rid of your city clerk elected, right? Great decision. It's still left over. But you can put all that in the city charter, and in order to get rid of that, boom, you have to go to the vote of the people. It's a great way to add stability to the city.
This might be a ridiculous question, but Prop 13 overrode state law regarding valuing property and taxes. Can we not do something similar to override this?
Yeah, that's what our neighborhood voices is.
But it's not, it won't be voted by the full state.
It will be a state proposition. It will be Prop 13, Prop 14, Prop 15, Prop 20, whatever it may be. Once we get the signatures, we'll qualify.
Well, it's a ballot initiative that's trying to get on.
It does get voted in, it's not retrospective.
It is retrospective. Yes,
So-
it is.
So it'll unwind.
Unwind all of this. And your council can sit there and say, we actually like SB 9. We want that.
Mills.
Or not.
You can take down buildings that are already up.
No, you can't do that. Once a project is approved, it has entitlements, it's done.
Just tell me before you think you do that. One of the things that triggered this is Newsom passed a law that says you're not allowed to reduce the number of units on a property.
Yeah.
And down here at the beach, that was a problem. Like this property, a 4-unit property on a R3 lot, and when there's a lot of these properties are built way back when, and you have all these units on them, and you can't tear it down, and you can't remodel, you can't do anything.
Well, you can-
There's a jam.
Yeah.
And that's why they got the building remedy.
So, not really entirely. So, going back to this, there was a SB in 2019, SB 220, I think it was, or whatever, it doesn't matter. 2019, they passed a state law that says no net loss in the city. Once you zone for for 100 units in the city, you cannot go down to 90 or 75. Now, if you take a unit that had 10, a plot had 10 units, and you go down to 90, you can replace those 10 units with somewhere else in the city. You can move them around like a chessboard. But you can't remove 10 units away from 100. You can only gain. This is a big problem. Redondo, we tried to rezone, get rid of mixed use zoning on PCH. Couldn't do it, moved the zone, ended up moving the density somewhere else. But we had the total density. So 2019, again, state laws coming back with you but from years ago. It's not your city council. Yeah.
Regarding some of these lawsuits that you win, you win a couple lawsuits, but my understanding is that this, you'll sue like on SB something. You'll sue on an element of SB something. So that 2 or 3 sentences that you sue on, they'll say, okay, yeah, you're right, we'll take those sentences out, they modify it. And so you won, but you didn't win. Is that?
So, there's something called whack-a-law. There's a slide I have here, I took it out. Good reminder, I should keep it in here because you're asking great questions. It's called whack-a-law. You guys know whack-a-mole, right? It's just whack-a-law. Now, through the years, for the council, we've stopped plenty of state bills. SB 50 years ago, we stopped. Oh my gosh, we're great, we're a success. Huge Rearvance Party. The next year, they came back to something called SB 35. That passed. Right? SB 9, what I talked about, which splits up the single-family house, right, lot, into 4, right? City of Redondo, Torrance, Whittier, Del Mar are no longer part of that. Guess what? State legislators are not stupid. We won exactly a year ago, right? The state appealed. We won on the fact that in the preamble it says all about affordable housing, but nothing in the bill required any of the net splits to be affordable. So we said, look, we have data, we have facts that shows that nothing in here is affordable. We won. They appealed it. The state legislature in August of last year, in 5 days, pulled the bill out of the closet from the prior year, put it on the floor of the assembly, voted on it, passed it, and that was within 2 or 3 days. Within 2 or 3 days after that, it went to the Senate floor and got passed there. And they are amending the section that we won on. So it'll have to go right back to court and get with the whole process again, all over again, one more time. The whole judicial process, re-adjudicated. Pam?
From starting the Arnie and Good Voices, signatures for the ballot, the signatures from before, are they still valid? Or do we have to start all over?
So the process for ballot initiatives are real simple. Pam and I back here work on one called Measure C, Redondo Beach, King Armor Care Act. The way it works is really simple. You write it up, document like this, hand it over to the state. They look at it, they give you what's called the title. This is the blah, 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 and a whole summary, 200-word summary. You go out, you then get that back 50, 60 days later, then you have 6 months from that point in time to get the required signatures. Since we're amending the state constitution, it requires 500, 600,000 signatures, whatever it is, 650 I think, whatever. So in order to play it safe, we need 1.2 million signatures, right? We have 6 months to get those signatures. We need volunteers, $10 a signature, do the math, 1.1, 1.2, $12 million. We need 200,000 volunteers, right, to get 50 signatures each to qualify for the ballot. That's really the basic plan of what we have.
But the signatures expire.
Signatures expire after 6 months. If you don't get your signatures, they're gone. You start all over again. That's why we're being very careful as to when we start this, because we don't want to fail. When we get all our signatures, we have to create an army of volunteers. Signature books cost money, website, personnel, driving back and forth, all that stuff costs money. Right?
I think we have time for one more question.
Okay.
You guys can stay after if you want, and you can talk.
I just want to make one real quick point. My basic experience is that the state has so much power and they're so aggressive with all of this stuff. They'll figure out a way to get built what they want to get built, and they're gonna be on the side of the builders, developers, whatever money interests are involved. There's a bill right now, that's going on right now, called SB 79, that has worked its way through the Senate, and uncharacteristically only won by one vote. Usually in the House of Origination, which was Senator Wiener out of San Francisco, usually it'll get a majority vote, but he won the squeak by with one vote. Now it goes to the Assembly, and we have a chance at the Assembly level, and I'm saying this because I'm encouraging you to pound your local Assembly member with notifications or letters I can feel. But SB 79 does so much damage. It's the worst of all these other bills. And so, you know, if you have a transit center, a bus station of any significance,
Bus stop.
potentially a bus
They're
stop,
everywhere.
if you draw a half-mile circle around that, it overrides the housing element, it overrides the zoning. You're talking about 65 foot and 65 feet within a quarter mile, 55 feet within a half a mile. So
That would completely cover Hermosa Beach. You can go 65 feet, and also they will move a bus stop for a developer.
and I believe it also negates the
I mean-
coastal commission.
Yeah, and they don't need builders regulating or anything, because they can just do it.
So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that this is such an aggressive legislator group on this issue in Sacramento that a lot of this stuff is really important, and your city can do things. In fact, they can spend a lot of money on lawyers and stuff, but these guys are so intent on taking over effectively housing and turning it over to moneyed interest that it's two rails. It's our neighborhood horses and get rid of the guys.
And it's important not only for you to call your local people, you call your friends all over the state, you get them to call into their people.
It's the greatest wealth transfer in the history of California. Yeah.
Well, thank you, John. This has been incredibly educational. My question is, Hermosa, this is a very small town. We have a small budget. We just had our budget study session yesterday. There are fiscal headwinds. These lawyers are very expensive. I'm sure you can tell us all about how much of your budget was dedicated to this, how much in the future is going to be dedicated. This project, this 5-story, 5-unit project, is not your 3,000-unit project. Is there an argument to be made to be keeping our powder dry a little bit here? Or, on the other hand, is there a precedent issue at all? If there's one builder's remedy project in one part of the city, then later on, does that exhaust our ability based on precedent to oppose a different one? Because, I'm looking at views. There is no public views behind this building. I'm looking at parking. We're talking about, it's 5 units. It's going to be hard to oppose on that ground too. Infrastructure, we're having 1 unit. We're not going to win on sewers. So, pragmatically, a small city, is this the hill to die on? I agree, there is a hill to die on here, for sure. And in 2029, when our housing element comes up for recertification, if the whole city is open to hundreds and hundreds of units of, unrestricted development, that's going to be a disaster. But is this the hill to die? I'm asking this.
It's an excellent question. It's an excellent question on so many different levels. I'll tell you as a council member, when projects like this come to town, you fight like hell. And the reason why is not because it sets a precedence, not because it's going to stop another one. It's because when a project like this comes to town and you let it go, or you don't fight like hell, it sends a message to developers. Remember I said it's been delayed to August? You're having an effect. Your lawn signs are being seen. Staff hears you. Council hears you. They can't say anything, but I'll tell you what, who else did right now? Developers are looking at this going like, oh. I was approached in Redondo Beach about a year and a half, 2 years ago by a developer and said, hey Nils, I'm gonna buy this project, these 2 or 3 parcels on PCH. And I'm gonna put them together and use this state law, and I'm gonna put a big project here. How do you feel about that? And I started laughing. And he says, yeah, I know. And I said, well, okay, let's talk about it for a second. What do you have? Talk about it for 5 minutes. I said, well, you have a by right development. Guess what? And he said, am I gonna have to battle you and Bill Graham? He says, absolutely, and here's why. And he says, I don't want part of that. The developers look at the time matrix, right? Time is money. You could fight like hell and lose when a lawsuit costs $1 million in legal fees. But guess what? The developers are gonna look at that, and they might get their $1 million, but guess what? It's costing them time. They're not gonna move forward. Time matrix is on your side. One last question, comment from you?
Well, there, I've got some here.
Yeah.
Some of what you said.
All right, one last one.
Okay.
League of California Cities doing anything about this?
League of California Cities is a complete waste of time. They're a dumpster fire as an organization. And here's why. Do you want me to be politically correct with that? I'll be politically correct. This is not a Democrat issue, this is not a Republican issue. How do you think people get to state legislature? They become city council members, and then you can part of a larger organization like League of California Cities, which is just a group of cities that have come together, form an organization to get together a couple times a year, educate, network, whatever. Very valuable. The problem is, it's used as a stepping stone to get to state legislature now. So now the league is now in full lockstep. I shouldn't say full lockstep. They are very much in the same alignment because people that are there don't want to piss off those on top, the government, and they want their next stepping stones. Don't rely on yourself, and that's it.
One last time for me. I'm not with our neighborhood voices, but obviously I support the neighborhood voices in a big way. And I support all of the other groups that are also advocacy groups to fight this stuff. Nobody gets paid for this. It's important. I will put a plug in. Everybody who goes to these meetings, they get all fired up and they forget to kind of write a check. And it's important. We need to write a check.
$50, $30. Volunteers, sign up on a volunteer list, email list. I'll spread the word SB 79.
Also, if you sign up just for their email list, they will give you a notification when SB 79 is going through. Click a button and it sends emails out. They will let you know. So get people to sign up at a minimum to get those emails so they can react.
That they hear.
Yeah, we've got Save Hermosa, we're under their umbrella, and we launched this here to get the word out. So thank you for coming. We videoed this, it's gonna be on our website. Please share it with your neighbors, talk to people about what's going on, because so many people don't know. And this could really change in a big way where we live and what we love about Hermosa. And I think if enough of us come together, we can have an impact. I know many of us came to the planning commission meeting and they did consider all our suggestions. So Nils, you know that, if you do speak up, it helps, but we can't stop. We gotta keep going. August 20th is the hearing date. You can, oh, I'm sorry, I keep getting the dates mixed up. I think it was like May 20th, August 19th. You can write to the council, you can write to the planning commission, and it doesn't have to be something elaborate. Just say, I don't agree with this, I don't think it's right. We don't have to get into all the legalities and minutia, but if they see enough of those letters coming in, and I mean, I spend my time fighting SB 79, sending letters on behalf of Save Hermosa, and send them to other people that want to speak up, and that made a huge impact there. So don't forget, you do have power, and people need to know about it, see about it, and then obviously we need money to run these campaigns and to get the word out. So thank you all for being here.